Okay, so we have the lovely Mandy, rock star group coaching client, and we are going to chat a little bit about your experience and what brought you to group coaching, and we're going to talk about all the things. So I want to just start with what was your relationship with food like growing up? Like if you could think back before even group coaching, like just growing up, what was your relationship with food like?
Horrible. Very restrictive. There was a lot of morality around food, good foods, bad foods, healthy foods. I feel like that term was thrown around a lot as a kid. So very kind of confusing. And that started around age like 7 or 8.
Okay. And so like when did this message, how did this message get to you?
My mom.
Okay.
It started out, I have kind of a unique background growing up with some health conditions that required me to go on some medications that could possibly or potentially make you gain weight. And I think as soon as she heard that, it just went into like a trigger of, we got to do anything and everything to keep you thin. And the weight of that and the importance of that was stressed more than anything. At any lengths and at any cost, we had to stay thin.
Yeah. And so was your mother tied up in diet culture as well, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very much into Weight Watchers. My very first diet happened whenever I was like 12, maybe 13. And it was a Weight Watcher diet. And she was doing it as well. And back then, Weight Watchers was very, very, very restrictive. It was like, hard boiled egg and tuna with no mayo, none of the good stuff in it to make, crackers and, take a bite, lick this, smell that,
Yeah.
I don't think this is right, but I'm a kid. So what do I know?
Yeah. You don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
So my next question was, when did you go on your first diet? You said 12, right? You went on Weight Watchers. And how long had you been dieting before you started the program?
I don't think I realized that I was on a diet from like 7 to 12. But during that period of time, I was on that medication. So I was put in like any and every activity from gymnastics to baseball to, lots and lots of activity that I felt like was forced rather than
you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then very much a calorie restrictive stuff without she would package me snacks. These are your snacks. This is your stuff. Don't eat anything over here. That's my stuff or your dad's stuff, So a lot of that segregation, that's bad food. This is, this is good food. You need this.
Right. Yeah. So that morality again tied to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
So when you started group programming, how many years had you kind of quote unquote been on a diet up till then?
Oh, my gosh. Like 15 or 16, 17.
Okay.
Like a lot.
A long time.
Yeah. More than half of my life.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So what was your breaking point with diet culture that moved you to say, this find food freedom, let me see what they have to say?
Yeah. Well, right before I found Sammy on TikTok, I had just done a round of Noom. And I had signed up for Noom because it wasn't a diet. And quickly into that, I was about 2 weeks into the program, and they started with this like color coordination of like sometimes foods, bad foods, moderate, I'm like
red, yellow, green.
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me, but I think this is diet. I've been around the block a few times. So, it came to very clear to me that one day I was eating lunch, the healthy lunch that I had prepared. And I was like, I'm still hungry. And this is not even what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why are we? And so I stopped the program. I canceled the membership and everything. And I was like, I like, what's wrong with me? Like, there's something wrong with me. It has to be me because
Right.
I've done all these programs
Right.
and they work for other people, but here I am, the oddball out. I
Yeah.
can't seem to complete the program.
Yeah.
And so, I stumbled upon a TikTok one day and she was spitting some truth facts and I'm like, excuse me, like that makes sense. Wait a second. And so I signed up for one of her, free seminars and I was like, yeah, I have to do this. Like, even if this might not be the answer, I feel like it might. And
Yeah.
it made a lot more sense than all the diet culture shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me ask, were you skeptical or
Yes.
worried going into the program? Tell me about
Yes.
that. Tell me what were your fears?
I think because, I had just done the Noom thing,
Yeah.
and they were not a diet.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I think I was just like so scared that like, is this another gimmick? Is this another, well, I'll get you in and then all of a sudden we're going to put you on hard boiled egg and,
Yeah.
cheese diet or something weird, a juice cleanse,
Yeah.
Um, and it was very quick to the start that I was like, oh no, this is way different. I still didn't really know what to expect, but I could tell after that first seminar, I was like, I have to, like this, I have to see.
Yeah.
So
I remember you in your first group and you just kind of like sat there, like maybe didn't say much, maybe for the first couple
mhm.
sessions, right? Like just
Yeah, I was
taking
quiet.
yeah, you were quiet and you weren't quiet like as we moved on, but I think
Yeah.
was it just like processing kind of like what was going on?
I think I was trying to take into, because there were some seasoned girls that were on their way out of the program.
Yeah.
And so I was just really kind of like trying to like digest what they were saying, because I was like, they were like me.
Right when I
Just-
started.
Yeah. And I'm like, and now their outlook on food and how they view their bodies and everything was just so different. And I was just like, that could be me.
Yeah.
Like, that could be my end result. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Self-acceptance and self-love.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
I think a lot of people go through that when they first start and they hear some of the people who've been in it for a while and they're like questioning that. Like, I don't
yeah.
know if this is true. Like, is this really where I'm going to get after a couple months? So can you describe your experience in group coaching? Like what were your what was your experience with the other ladies and what were your takeaways?
Yeah. Honestly, like kind of like we talked about, I was a little nervous at first because everybody has a different story, and everybody has a different background. And I was hoping that I would have somebody that I would relate to
Yeah.
and connect with. Because ideally that's what you want, somebody with a shared experience. And quickly I saw that we all had really similar experiences, maybe with some one-offs that really connected us really quickly and bonded us in a way of like to strengthen us to like take on this challenge of this new journey, even though it was scary as hell. We knew that like we were going to do it together.
Yeah.
And so I think after those first couple of sessions of just kind of warming up and opening up, and realizing we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We've all been screwed over by diet culture.
Yeah.
And we're not taking the bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
You bonded together, right?
Yeah. And honestly, some of the girls, even to this day, I'm still connected with.
Yeah.
And we have a group chat outside of that. And that was so wonderful to stay connected with them and to even see their progress 6 months from now, from then. And so it's been a really good experience.
Yeah.
And that.
Amazing. What was the most helpful aspect of the group coaching program?
Honestly, I think the space that you provided for us, you would share sometimes a story or a personal story, or, sometimes it'd be just like a random topic that, or somebody was experiencing some trouble that they had that week, and just leaving that open platform for that discussion, because sometimes we would start off with somebody's issue and end up, we're all in tears and like crying, you know what I mean? Like, but we were all there for each other. And I think that you allowed that open and connectedness to just happen so organically that it made everybody look forward to coming back
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Did you find it helpful to be in a group as opposed to one-on-one counseling? And I know you've kind of done a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Like your experience in group, how was that different than being in the one-on-one?
Truthfully, I was a little hesitant about group because I was worried about not having that connection or finding,
Yeah.
or not even being able to connect with you because there was, other people in the class. But it was such an intimate process. And not only like your availability outside of that, it made me feel comfortable, like I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like I am, I know that I had resources. I knew I had email connection, messaging, whatever, to get in contact with you or one of the girls, even outside group.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit hesitant at first, but truthfully, I got just as much out of group as I did individual.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of based on, I think initially you need the group,
Yeah.
because you need to know that you're not the only
Alone.
one out there. And I think that to me was the most comforting part, because for so long, I thought it was just me.
Yeah.
I thought I was just the one that was the fuck up, that I couldn't get it right.
Yeah.
And so to see that so many other, women and people in general just struggle with that, I'm like, oh my gosh, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about it?
Yeah.
More and more, obviously it's becoming more predominant, but this was the first I've ever seen in my whole life that I was like, this makes so much sense. And no wonder why diet culture wants us quiet.
Yeah. Right.
We'll lose out on all their money.
Right. Exactly. You're right about that. So tell me, how has your life changed since the program ended?
It's literally like night and day. I feel like when I started, I was kind of I feel lost or broken or just not very self-assured, and no healthy boundaries with people, with food, with anything. And I just felt like lost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way. Just like I was trying to figure it out and I just couldn't. And I'm like, man, I'm like 33 years old. Like, why can't I get this together? And um, as soon as like the program started and getting into the materials and everything, I was just like, okay, I can do this,
Yeah.
and I can love myself, and I can be neutral about myself. I can take care of myself. I can feed myself without guilt or shame.
Yeah.
And so it went from being like not knowing how to feed myself, not knowing how to care for myself,
Yeah.
to being able to schedule in self-care, schedule in snacks to make sure I'm staying, fueled for my day, and not feeling any sort of guilt about anything that I'm choosing,
Yeah.
knowing that my body is letting me know what I need and
Yeah.
trusting that.
I'd love for you to talk a little bit about one of the big changes that you had in while you're going through this, and that was the boundaries, like coming from a place of just not really prioritizing and standing up for yourself to really finding your voice with people around you. And if you could kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I quickly learned that this program was way deeper than food for me. It took me on a journey of realizing that I had no self-worth, and that all my worth was put into image and weight.
Mhm.
And that was the only thing that brought value to the world or to anyone. And I quickly saw that that was total BS.
Yeah.
And in that, though, I would let people walk all over me. I let boyfriends repeatedly cheat on me and be abusive towards me.
Mhm.
The relationship between my mom and I, was so rigid and ragged that I it was all over the place. And I was miserable because I was so busy making everybody else happy and making sure that they're cared for, that when it was my turn and I was depleted and I needed something, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And I knew that that had to change. I just didn't know how.
Yeah.
And once I started respecting myself and telling myself, you deserve to eat and drink regularly, just like everyone else,
Mhm.
it all just kind of snapped that, like, well, if I deserve to eat and drink regularly, then I deserve to be treated better by this person or that person. And if
Right.
they're not going to do that, bye.
Yeah.
Um, it just was like a domino effect, and
Yeah.
in a great way, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it just was one thing after another and things just kept clicking for me.
Yeah.
And it was a bigger understanding and a bigger, I don't think I realized how big that hole was and
Yeah.
how much I had given myself away. And once I started repacking all that back in, I was like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
No more of that ever. That Mandy is dead.
Yeah. That was an amazing transformation to watch on my end too. So I mean, I can't say anything more about that. So tell me, what is your relationship with food like now?
You know, it's a good relationship. I feel like I don't sit here and think, okay, well, I had egg and cheese biscuit, and so probably for lunch I should just like have a salad, or there's no like justification or morality, or well, that was fast food and that's bad food, and this is like there's none of that.
Yeah.
It's, I'm hungry, my body says I want some apples and peanut butter, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Or I want a big turkey cheese sandwich, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
There's no like second guessing.
Yeah.
I'm literally listening to what my body says and trying to listen to those full cues as well, of
Mhm.
listening to when I'm satisfied. I think that was the other thing, is there was a lot of binging going on because I would starve,
Mhm.
for hours and hours or even a day. And then the next day I would eat so much because my body was like, we don't know when we're going to see this again.
Yeah.
You keep doing this to us, girl. Like, quit doing this to me. So yeah, it's such a, I mean, it's literally such a different experience now. It's just, I don't obsess about it. I don't think about it. I don't write it down. I'm not tracking it. I'm not counting it.
Yeah.
You know,
Living.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's an amazing thing to feel that free from like that kind of thought process
Yeah.
that I was held down to for more than half of my life.
Mhm. Yeah.
What a weight to be lifted.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who's considering group coaching?
Do it. Like, don't second guess, like, do it. Like, if you have been struggling with body image, with caring about yourself, with feeding yourself, and you have been stuck in this freaking messed up diet culture, do it. Because had you told me when we first met
Mhm.
that I would be sitting here and living so freaking freely and happily, and I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a liar.
I know.
Like, no, that's not going to be me,
Yeah.
because I've been so miserable for so long with that stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
and that thought process. So don't second guess it. Just do it. Like, you'll be better for it in some way, shape, or form. This program will touch you and change your life forever. I know it has mine.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you very much for your time. We so appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.